Hey, it's Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. I have something to brief today. Today's the 30th day of July. What I have to brief today is actually kind of sad. It would almost be funny if it weren't such a serious thing, but it's actually kind of sad. And you may be thinking, hasn't he beat this issue up enough? Isn't this, this pig thing, hasn't it gone on far enough? We're sick of it. I understand. No one is more sick of it than I am. However, there are some hills that are worth dying on, and this is one of them. And I've told you this. If a department like the Department of Natural Resources can say, because we say so, then, and we allow that, where does it end? All right, they can outlaw anything that you own, and that's not how our government works. Our private property is protected under due process of law per the Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. And the department has not gone by that, and then our illustrious Attorney General Bill Schuette hasn't called him on it. I mean, he's the top cop, that's his job, and he hasn't done it. So I'm sick of it. However, this is a hill to die on. All right, now this is the latest. All right, I made a video prior to the one about porcine epidemic diarrhea, which is a big deal, and that video has stirred things up a bunch. So I want you to go back and look at that and get smart about porcine epidemic diarrhea and what you can do on that field right there. Okay, but the one I made before that was about an issue that came up in the Cadillac newspaper. All right, and it was it went out on the 9th of July, and at the end of it, it was actually a very good, you can get this online, or Jill posted it on our website, bakersgreenacres.com. But at the end of it, Ed Golder, who is the Public Information Officer for the Department of Natural Resources, states, as far as bakers claim to have resumed selling Russian hybrids, Golder simply said that he is in violation of the law. All right, if I'm in violation of the law, that means my product is illegal. That comes right from the public information guy, and it was printed in the newspaper in my hometown. All right, very damaging. As you know, we've been through court with these people. It was dismissed. The director of the DNR, Keith Cray, rescinded the declaratory ruling. It was found to be unconstitutional. They dropped all charges against me, da-da-da-da-da. Basically, we won. Without being compensated for it, and we're working on that. And that had to do with the district court here, Judge William Fagerman, that, we don't know what to think about that, but I'm finding out he has a history just like everybody else. But anyway, this statement in the newspaper was very damaging to my business, because you can imagine it spread like wildfire that the state is back down on bakers again. We spent a lot of money to get the state out of our face so we could do business, feed our family, and pursue the American dream, right? And here's this Wiener Golder saying that I'm a lawbreaker. It's defamation of character, for one thing. But anyway, we sent this letter to the director, Golder's boss, right? Remember, I read that to you. And the letter is also posted at bakersgreenacres.com. And we told him we want a retraction of what he said, because it's totally untrue. All right, and I also talked to my senator, Senator Boer, about it, and they were outraged about that. And several of the other senators actually communicated with us that they're not gonna take this. And this is an election cycle. And I think that works in the benefit of the American citizens, because everywhere these politicians go, they're getting questions. They're getting peppered with questions. What about this pig thing? Where do you stand on this pig thing? Where do you stand on people's rights, constitutional rights? We have a big thing coming up here in a couple of days. There's a election, it's a primary election, to see who we're going to send to Washington to represent us, the citizens. Their job is to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Their job is not to defend the whims of corporate agriculture against small farmers and concerned citizens. That is not their job, but that's what they think their job is. And that's what they'll go to Washington to do, because they want to do right by their buddies. That's all about people doing for each other, to get something out of it. The politicians are supposed to be working for us, the common man that inhabits this country. All right, anyway, that letter went out to old Keith Cray, who is the director of the Department of Natural Resources. Let me tell you something. He's no slouch. I know people that know him. He's a smart guy. He's getting pushed around. And he corresponded with me personally, right here. See that? I got this in the mail this morning. Mr. Mark Baker. It's like when I used to send away for stuff. It was really cool getting this in the mail, and I thought, what could this be? I already knew because it went out via email, and my senator called me yesterday and told me it was coming. But here's the letter from Keith Cray. It's signed. This is an original copy from the Department of Natural Resources. They have never responded to me in the past, but now all of a sudden they're responding to me. Why is that? That's really the question of the day here. Why are they starting to respond? Because we're having an impact on them. You all are starting to learn that you have to get involved or you're going to lose your freedoms. You have to be involved. And you have been doing that. You have been ringing the phones down in Lansing. And that is so important. That has to continue. The invasive species order needs to be torn in half. It needs to go away. They've rescinded the declaratory ruling, which explains the invasive species order, but the invasive species order needs to go away. All right, well, here's what I wanted to tell you about what this letter says. We told him we wanted a retraction in the paper, and basically, I'll read you the first sentence of this. Director Cray, I don't really need to read any more because it's all just a bunch of fluff, and they try to get you turned around so you're not quite sure what they're talking about, but the first sentence in this is enough. Okay, here's from Director Cray. On July 9th, 2014, Cadillac News story you referenced in your letter of July 16th, 2014, did not accurately reflect Ed Golder's statements to the media or the position of the Department of Natural Resources. I don't need to go any further because I've already talked to the paper last night at length. What Cray is saying is, we didn't say that. The newspaper got it wrong. So Chris Lamphere wrote this. He's a professional newsman, journalist, smart guy, good guy, always been very accurate in everything he's done. But in this case, Ed Golder says, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. They got it wrong. So here's the Department of Natural Resources head guy pulling some punk operation like this, saying that the newspaper got it wrong. The newspaper, they're the ones that owe you an apology. They're the ones that need to settle up with you for the damages that they created. Again, see, because here's my position. I raise these pigs, Mangalitsa, very nice pig. You can make some really great things out of them. Chefs have made a lot of money off of my pigs. But then all of a sudden, Department of Natural Resources says, my pigs are illegal. Chefs don't like that because then the customers don't like that. So nobody bought my pigs. For 3 years, nobody bought my pigs. Try to keep a herd alive for 3 years with no one buying your pigs. Then we finish the operation, take them to court, we win. Then I have to go back to my chefs and convince them that we've won. And the win is so convoluted that they're not sure. They're really not sure. And their chefs, they're busy. They don't have time to pick through all this garbage to figure out if I'm selling a legal product. So I go to these guys and I give you my word. This is legal. It's okay. We're putting our business back together. And then Ed Golder comes out with a statement that hits the paper that says, I'm breaking the law. The chefs freaked out. Now, who's gonna pay for that damage? Who's gonna make that right? Not Keith Cray. Keith Cray says, it wasn't me. It was the newspaper. They misquoted us. There's a word for that. Okay, so that's what happened. Now, we have another issue. It's when are these people going to take responsibility for what they've done, for the damage that they've caused of U.S. citizens? All right, this guy's still getting his fat paycheck every week, right? Nobody down there in Lansing gets fired; they just get promoted to better jobs. Rodney, he didn't really get fired. He was mowing lawns for a little while. He's working back for the DNR right now. Harry Martin, nothing happened to him. He can treat citizens like that in a court of law, make a mockery out of that court. Nothing happens to him. No. So if you're not angry, you need to be angry. And I'm hoping that people are starting to see this is a hill to die on. Because 10 years from now, they're going to say, remember the feral swine issue. Just remember that. All right, let's get back after it. Ring those phones. Do not give up. Do not let up. Everywhere that these guys go, they have to know that until this is settled, the ISO is gone, and they have to make restitution to the people they've damaged. It is not going away. It's real important to know that because we've got an election cycle right now. There's one guy that wants to go and represent us in Washington, and he ain't going to go there, and the reason is because of the pig issue. And he happens to be real friendly with two other guys that are going to be up for re-election. One is Governor Snyder, and one is Bill Schuette. And this pig issue is going to haunt them. You need to make that happen. It's Mark from Baker's Green Acres signing off.